It really stinks because they were affected by all the bad actors in their industry. Hey, it's Adam Port, customer service expert, author, and speaker, and I'm here today in Dallas, Texas, and everything is bigger in Texas. I love Dallas, and I'm here at the Hilton Garden Inn, and I'm here for the C-Suite Network, which is a fantastic conference for anybody in the C-Suite, anybody who's leading teams, whether they be customer-facing or not. And on the drive in, I took a Lyft, and it made me think a little bit about customer experience as defense. And particularly, can customer experience be a defense to disruption? And I would say that customer experience can absolutely help sort of slow down the impact of disruption. I don't think it can ever stop disruption, particularly if it's truly, transformative to the industry. But I think the customer experience, having a great customer experience, having happy customers that aren't looking for the first chance to jump ship can absolutely be a positive if your industry starts getting disrupted. And, driving in, I was on a Lyft and thinking about that industry, and I was talking to the driver, and I usually talk to the drivers, whether I take taxis or Uber or Lyft, because I am fascinated by what's happened in that industry. And we all know that, Uber came in, then Lyft, and they just decimated the taxi industry. I mean, there's been bankruptcies up in New York for major cab companies. I spoke with one gentleman who drove me. It was a taxi driver in Vegas, said his income's been cut to like 20% of what it was. I mean, it's been really tough. And there are some great examples, there always have been, of great customer service coming from taxi drivers. My buddy Shep Hyken has a famous story about the taxi driver, and I'll make sure to link to that in the video here. Scott McCain's got Taxi Terry, wrote a whole book, I believe, about a taxi driver. So there's always been shining examples in that industry of great service. And I think one of the reasons those examples were so powerful is because they stood out. Because the industry as a whole, the customer experience stunk. Dirty cars, people that couldn't communicate well or wouldn't communicate well or communicated aggressively. Jacked up fares, everything you can imagine, right? We've all been there. We've all done those cab rides. And I think my thesis would be this. If customer experience in the cab industry had been good, if you had always enjoyed, your cab rides, the bad experiences were the exception, how fast would Uber and Lyft have changed it? They would have had to come in and compete on price. And they did a little bit, but they would have had to significantly compete on price because the experience was already good. We had no real reason to leave that experience. The only experience that would have really changed was the ability to use the app. The ability to use the app and have somebody show up right there. And that would have been transformative. That is a true feature that the taxi industry did not have before, but I don't think it would have happened as fast. It would not have happened as rapidly, and it would, the companies that were affected would not have been affected so greatly in such a small period of time because the experience just stunk. People were looking for the first attempt to jump ship, and as soon as Uber came along, as soon as Lyft came along, as soon as clean cars came along and friendly drivers came along, it disrupted it. And for the thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of great cab drivers out there, it really stinks because they were affected by all the bad actors in their industry. And there were so many, we've all had great cab rides. There's so many people in that industry that do a great job. And they were affected because, as a whole, the industry had a problem. And I think that customer experience would have been defense in this case. And another example would be, let's say, the cable industry, which is being disrupted heavily, and people are cutting the cord. And the cable industry is not known for its customer experience. I'm very fortunate in Central Florida, our cable company, they just got bought out, but it was Bright House, and they actually did really well with customer experience. We had a lot of good things. Well, we ended up cutting the cord anyways, but I tell you what, we cut it a lot later, and we didn't cut it over customer experience. And we definitely cut it a lot later than we would have had the experience been bad. If we didn't like Bright House. And we kept our internet still there, so they still have our business because we like the company. But that industry is one where they're investing heavily. The big names, some of the names you know about that haven't been great with customer experience, are investing heavily in it because they don't want people to be incentivized to leave. If they don't compete on experience, if they aren't able to retain customers on the programming side, they're just going to be the pipe. They're going to be the cable. They're going to be the bandwidth for other services. And I think customer experience, this industry, it's not really too late. I think customer experience can really help cable, can help these industries play defense. Make it so people don't want to switch. Make it so people, at least if they are looking at switching, aren't dying to switch, aren't looking for the first opportunity they can to get out. So let me know what you can in the comments below. I'm curious what you think. Can customer experience be defense against disruption? And even if you don't believe it can be total defense, because I don't really believe that either, can it slow it? Can it give you an opportunity to pivot and actually be part of that disruption and be part of the changes that are happening in your industry? So let me know in the comments below, and I'm Adam Toporek, and you can find more about me at customersthatstick.com. And remember, as always, subscribe. We'll talk to you next video.